So our Marina woke up and, as always, went to wash her face. Passing by the kitchen, she saw her hated stepfather, Uncle Misha, setting the table. She shuddered. She hated the man fiercely for replacing her father in their house. No, he didn't take Mom away from the family. My father died 4 years ago in a car accident. Then Marina and Mom lived alone for 3 years. And a year ago, Uncle Misha appeared. With his appearance in the family, everything changed. They sold an apartment in the city and bought a house in a small village. Marina didn't want to move, but no one asked her. After all, Mom was expecting another baby, and the adults decided that the fresh air would be better. But who is better? Them. Marina was still angry. Everything annoyed her. She was infuriated by Uncle Misha's sweet smile, how he hugs his mother, how he tells that everything will be fine with them. If only he knew how much I hate him. Marina's mother smoothed the corners in the relationship between her husband and daughter as best she could. Mikhail himself understood that the girl, to put it mildly, disliked him. He tried to please her in everything, even sometimes going against the words of Katya, Marina's mother, but no matter what he did, it only led to a sharp look from his stepdaughter. Marina washed her face and went to breakfast. After finishing it, she got up from the table without saying a word and went to her room. Marish, my mother said kindly, don't you want to say anything? Marina looked at her mother and barely squeezed out of herself. Thank you, Uncle Misha. To your health, Marinoshka. As always, Mikhail said affably. Marina went into the room. She had to get ready for school, and the adults stayed in the kitchen. Kat, Mikhail said, well, what else can I do? I've already tried everything. I keep saying that I will never replace her father, that he will always be remembered and honored in this house. But no matter what I do or say, nothing helps to establish a relationship. Mish, just be patient a little. I know everything. I talked to her too. And she only asks in response, why did I then let Nikita go to work part-time? And he went to earn extra money and buy her boots, since it was torn that day, and there was still a week before the salary, Katya said in a half-whisper. Mikhail lowered his head. Well, maybe when she has a brother or sister, she will change. The man said hopefully. Of course, it will change. Katya smiled. Marina gathered her textbooks and silently went to school. She walked and remembered her old school in the city. She had friends there. They often gathered together in the yard after school and chatted merrily. Neighbor Pashka, who was in love with her, taught her to play the guitar, and everything was fine. And now, she didn't like the classroom or the school right now. Classmates tried to make friends with her, but her look, hating everything around, eventually scared everyone away. Only Nick's roommate didn't let up and tried to break through this wall. And now, when Marina came and sat down at the desk, Nick did not let up. Marinka, we are having a bonfire party today. We'll bake potatoes, sing songs. Shall we go? Nika, you know I don't like being called Marinka. I know, I'm laughing, the girl said. Otherwise, you wouldn't have said a word in response. I can see that you don't like everything here, but maybe you will like the evening gatherings. Marina thought about it, or maybe really give this place a chance. Maybe there is at least something good here. I'll think about it, she replied, and the bell rang for the lesson. After school, Marina walked and thought about the offer. After all, why does she live as a recluse? She is 17. She is already big enough to sit with the guys in the evening and walk home by herself. She walked and imagined how Mom and Uncle Misha would forbid her to go, and then she would definitely go, to spite them. Mom really was against it. Marin, you don't know anyone there. Evening, bonfire, and perhaps a drink. Isn't it a little early? And then how will you go home alone? Uncle Misha is going on an important business trip in the evening. I still need to collect it for the road. Our future depends on this business trip. You only have Uncle Misha on your mind, Marina said angrily. Uncle Misha this, Uncle Misha that. What about me? How is my life? You took me here from the place I loved, from my friends, to some remote place, and all because you need fresh air. And Uncle Misha grew up here and knows that it's good here. Who feels good? Him. At that moment Mikhail came in. "So, girls, what's all the fuss?" he asked cheerfully, although he heard the whole conversation, but did not show it. "Mish, she's going to a bonfire party." "Well, where should she go?" "Gatherings around the campfire," Mikhail said dreamily. "So it's great to meet the guys. And if there's alcohol in there, God forbid what happens on the way home. It's going to be dark by now, and you're not at home. Cat, everything will be fine there. They'll bake potatoes. We'll give them a thermos of tea. They'll sing songs and disperse. When I was young, I loved these gatherings so much, and everything is fine there." And he winked at his wife. "Okay," Mom said. "Go. But home no later than 11. Understand?" Marina stood there and didn't know how to react. There would be no need for an escape plan, and she had worked it out so carefully. She nodded and went into the room to get ready. "Mish, here you go again. I forbid you allow. Do you think this behavior will help to improve relations? We've been through this before, and nothing has changed. Kat, everything will be fine. I'll call Kolka. His son Pashka goes there too. I'll ask you to look after it and see it off." After these words, Katya calmed down. Marina really enjoyed sitting by the fire. Starry sky, baked potatoes, guitar songs. And the classmates were not as terrible as she thought, but funny guys. And there was no alcohol, as Nika said, but only tea, compote, and juices. Nika approached Marina. "How do you like it?" she asked. "Nika, you know it's really nice here. Do you often gather like this?" "When and how?" "We try every 2 weeks, but it happens less often." "Do you want to come again?" Nika asked fervently. "Yes," Marina answered confidently. "And why exactly in this place? And not in someone's yard?" "Oh, you city girl. See, there's no grass here. This is specially so that if suddenly the wind blows, the fire does not spread to the grass." "Do you have such a place in your yard without grass and buildings nearby?" "Not yet," Marina said, and she already had a plan in her head. Pavel, as promised to his father, saw Marina off. He didn't say anything that his father asked him to, since I knew from my father about her relationship with her stepfather, and he liked Marinka from the very first day at school, even though she was detached from everyone. And Marina walked and thought, well, here Pasha is and also plays the guitar. And the guy is smart and handsome. They liked me even more than that city Pasha. He loved her, and she never returned his love. Something about him scared me off, and this guy didn't scare me off. Therefore, she immediately agreed that he would accompany her. 2 weeks have passed. Marina's mother noticed the changes outside. The girl began to smile more often and to go to school more willingly, but the relationship with Mikhail remained at the same level. It was Thursday. Marina's mom came to the kitchen later than everyone else. She was very pale and scared. Mikhail immediately jumped up from the table. "Kat, what's wrong with you? We need to get to the hospital right away." That's all Katya could say. Marina jumped up, but her mother stopped her. "Marishka, go to school. You're already big, and you're going to be home alone for a while." And mom and stepfather went to the hospital. After the third lesson, Marina received a message from her mother. "Marish, it's okay, but I have to stay in the hospital until Monday. Uncle Misha will stay here as it is necessary to bring medicines. You're a smart girl. You'll improve yourself in a few days. If you need anything, go to Aunt Galia 2 houses down. I have some money in my nightstand in the top drawer. I kiss you, Mom." Marina calmed down, wrote a reply to the sums that everything would be fine. After school, Marina sat at home alone. There were supposed to be gatherings around the campfire tomorrow, but Pavel got sick, as well as several other guys, and decided to postpone it for a week. And then she had an idea. She went into the yard and noticed a place that seemed to her far from the buildings. "I raked the grass there and even dug in a little. That's where we'll sit then," she decided. The next day, she told Nika about her idea. Nika didn't support it. "It's not allowed in the yard, Marin, it's dangerous." Nika said, "Let's just sit in the yard without a fire." Marina agreed. After school, she was busy in the kitchen. She had to cook something. In the evening, the guys began to come. They took the table out of the summer kitchen and put it in the yard. Marina climbed into the cellar for a deer and saw a slender row of bottles of wine. She remembered that Uncle Misha made the wine himself. She pulled out a couple of bottles and offered the guys a little drink, like it's your own, without chemistry, and no one will be poisoned. At that time, there was something restless in the hospital for Katya, but my daughter wrote that she was doing well and was doing her homework. Mikhail, too, for some reason did not find a place for himself. Probably it's because of his wife, he thought, but the doctor seemed to reassure that everything is more or less normal. The results of the tests will come on Monday, and Katya will most likely be discharged. He came to Katya and saw a doctor in the corridor. "Natalia Andreevna, you're late," the man said. "Mikhail Viktorovich, yes, I have a shift on duty today, but I had already received the results of Ekaterina Dmitrievna's tests and was just going to see her." Mikhail anxiously followed the doctor. Katya, when she saw the evening delegation consisting of a doctor and her husband, was already a little scared. Seeing the fright on the woman's face, the doctor said, "Everything is fine, Ekaterina Dmitrievna, just on duty today. Here are your results come in. Everything is fine with you. It happens. You arrived with a very low hemoglobin, but we raised it. And then you yourself. If you want, I can write it out now. And at home, do not forget to eat more meat and fruit. I'll write all the recommendations." Katya and Mikhail were happy and started packing, but some kind of anxiety still did not leave their hearts. "Mish, drive quietly. Something cats are scratching at the sole. It's already dark outside, and soon there won't be any lanterns here." But Mikhail drove the car carefully anyway, because he was carrying the most precious thing in his life. At this time, the already well-tipsy guys were going home. Everyone was just thinking how to pass unnoticed by their parents. They lit a fire after all. It was necessary to keep warm. After seeing everyone off, Marina looked at the table in empty bottles, collected them in a bag. "Well, let Uncle Misha see the loss. He won't tell his mother anything. And even more so for her. After all, he's nothing to her." The fire was almost out. Marina took one look at him and went home, having decided to cover up the traces of the fire tomorrow, because Mom will arrive only on Monday. She went into her room and went to bed. The wind began to rustle outside the window, and she closed it. There was enough noise in her head right now. Being 3 streets away from home, Katya and Mikhail noticed that something was burning. Both of them had even more heartache, and Mikhail turned on the gas. Katya tried to call her daughter, but to no avail. She remembered that she had forgotten to warn her daughter that they were coming today. Already approaching the house, they realized that their house was on fire. "People are dragging water from the pump. Stay in the car," Mikhail said sternly, and rushed to the house. "Where's the daughter?" he shouted to people, but in response, "I heard that the firefighters had been called, but no one had seen my daughter." The man covered his head with a jacket and rushed into the fire. People tried to stop him. "Marishka, my daughter, where are you?" Making his way through the fire, he examined the rooms. "In the kitchen, I grabbed a towel, dipped it into a basin of water, and somehow covered my nose." Marishka was in her room. She lay motionless. He started shaking her, and she opened her eyes a little. Mikhail covered her face with a wet towel, wrapped the blanket as best he could, and ran away from the house. There was already an ambulance and a firefighter on the street, and Katya stood frozen in horror. Mikhail handed Marina over to the doctors and lost consciousness. Marina regained consciousness in the hospital. A tearful mother was sitting next to her. "Marishka, honey, how you scared us." Marina's shoulder ached. She looked there and saw a small burn. Strange, she thought. Why only one, and so few? She remembered, though vaguely, how Uncle Misha carried her through the fire. And there was a lot of fire. "Mom, where's Dad?" Marina asked quietly. "Marin, Dad died a long time ago. Don't you remember?" The woman was frightened. "Where is Papa Misha?" Katya burst into tears harder. "Mom, what's wrong with Dad?" Katya cried because her daughter called Mikhail Dad. Then the nurse rolled Mikhail, who was sitting in a chair, into the ward. "He said if I didn't take him to his wife and daughter, he would go himself. But you can imagine he will go. It's with his burns," the nurse said reproachfully. And Mikhail said as cheerfully as he could, "What are my favorite girls? Didn't wait." Marina looked at him affectionately for the first time. Mikhail's hands were all covered in cups, a little legs and face, and she only has a shoulder. He saved her life despite her behavior, and she was very grateful to him. And where are we going to live now? Marina asked quietly. You wanted to go back to town. Let's buy a house there. We can afford it now. Remember, I went on an important business trip. So now our business has gone well. I don't want to go to town. Can I go back? I will no longer burn a fire in the yard and take wine. Marina lowered her eyes shyly. And why not? Of course you can, and we'll buy you an apartment in the city so that you have a place to live when you're joking at the institute. There was a knock on the door of the ward. Everyone turned around and saw Pasha with a bouquet of wild flowers. Mikhail said fervently, "Well, roll me, mother." Then they came to my daughter, and everyone laughed again. That's the story, friends. Do you think any man would do the same as Mikhail? Write your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye.